So we're all familiar with the gems from Spyro, but how much are they worth really? Like, if you were to walk into a 7-Eleven with a handful of blue, green, and red gems, how many Slurpees could you slurp down for that amount? Well, I looked into the answer, and it's much more complicated than you might think. So to start, we need to assign a real-world gemstone to each of the 5 gem colors in Spyro. So red gems could be rubies, greens, emeralds, blue, sapphire, yellow, topaz, and pink, we'll just say diamond. Well, that doesn't really make sense, does it? Because sapphires aren't always blue, topaz isn't always yellow, and diamonds are definitely not always pink. Furthermore, the value is all fucked up there. The red gems being rubies, those are only worth 1, but in real life rubies are so expensive, and not to mention topaz for the illustrious yellow 10 gem? Well sure, that might make sense if you're talking about the rarest topaz in the world, but most topaz that you'll see on online dealerships are gonna be less than $50 for a small ring or anything like that, so I don't think it really makes sense for the 10 gem. In fact, that brings us to our next point about how gems are valued in real life. There's actually a 4 C's scale that people use to measure the quality and value of gems, which is color, carat weight, clarity, and cut. Thankfully, several of these factors are consistent across every gem in Spyro 1. For example, the cut, every gem is hexagonally cut in the exact same shape. The clarity, every gem of a specific color is going to have the same amount of clarity, that is the amount you can see through, which I will note is very low for gems in Spyro. Also, the carat weight, every gem is the exact same size, so we can safely assume that the carat weight for every gem is going to be consistent. But we're going to get into a little bit more of that in a minute. So for now, all we really have to worry about is the color of each gem and what real-world gemstone we assign to each color. This time, I'm going to pick gems that better reflect the in-game value. So for red gems, we're going to go with Rhodolite Garnet. Green gems are going to have to be Chrome Tourmaline, blue gems can stay as blue sapphires specifically, and yellow gems are actually going to be diamonds as well as pink gems also being diamonds, because diamonds actually vary in purity where yellow ones are much less sought after than the illustrious pink ones, making them more expensive.
And what woman wouldn't want a pink diamond, for crying out loud?
So now we have some real-world gems whose price better reflects the in-game economy of Spyro. But now we're faced with a new problem, and that's scale. Have you seen the gems in Spyro? They're freaking massive! They're easily a third the size of Spyro, fully cut. And for the size scaling of these gems to make sense, we need to compare them to real-world objects that occur in the game, specifically humanoid characters or fodder. So for example, a sheep in real life is going to be roughly 150 centimeters in length and about 110 centimeters in height, making it about half the size of a human tall and about the size of a human in length. So if we compare that now to the sheep in Spyro, well, the humans aren't looking very big. I mean, maybe we're going to be just taller than Spyro beyond his horns. We have a few other scaling charts made by fans over the years that show humans being basically about a foot, maybe a couple feet taller than Spyro himself. But when we look over at the humanoid characters in-game, we see that they vary in size from their small version to their large version. So even within the game of Spyro itself, there are multiple senses of scale to how big a human can really be. So, for the sake of simplicity, let's say that a human is between the size of Spyro and an adult-sized dragon, making Spyro around 4 feet before the horns, and an adult-sized dragon somewhere closer to 8 or 9 feet. So with that scale established, we can safely assume that gemstones are going to be roughly 2 to 3 feet in diameter, making them easily hundreds of thousands of carats in weight, even into the 1 millions of carats for denser gemstones. Again, for reference, the cheapest gemstone on our list, the Rhodolite Garnet, starts at $20 per carat. But wait, that's only if you have a small gemstone of 0.5 to 1 carats. This gemstone is freaking massive, so obviously it's going to be more expensive because of its rarity. So we can easily chalk that up to $300+ per carat for 1.9 million carats? That's like a bajillion dollars! Well, actually, it's more like 500 million for one red gem. And remember, there's 1,347 physical red gems in the game. That means the total value of all red gems in Spyro 1 is a staggering 800 billion real-world dollars just for red gems. So here's a table that I've made that shows the value of every single gem in Spyro 1 put together as a real-life gemstone, with generous pricing coming out to over $158 trillion. Now wait, you can obviously take those prices and vary them in the tens of trillions for how many thousands of gems we're dealing with here. So even at the lowest possible market value for these gems, the lowest possible cut, clarity, color, and carat weight, we are still looking at $12 trillion. But what about that last C right there? The carat weight. Real life, you're not gonna have gems that are 2 feet big, fully cut and faceted. In real life, if you wanted to gather thousands of gems together, we'd have to take the average size of faceted gemstones, which is going to be about 1 carat in size. Now, did I just pull those numbers out of my ass? Yes, but hear me out. Like, if you were to really try to get 3,000 gems in your arms and waltz into 7-Eleven to get icy, sugary, confectionery, Slurpee goodness, and yes, I am still thinking about the Slurpee hypothetical, well, you're gonna need some pretty small gemstones to do that. So I think 1 carat is realistic in order to actually hold all of the Spyro 1 gems and do that. And the real question of this video is, how much would that cost? A generous price range is going to be anywhere from $2 to $7 million to collect every gem in Spyro 1 at the smaller scale, bring it into the convenience store, and get this many Slurpees. That's just ridiculous. Like, let's be honest here. They're never gonna give you 1 million Slurpees. Or will they? According to Wikipedia, 7-Eleven sells more than 11.6 million Slurpees worldwide every day. So 1 million Slurpees? Well, it's not really sounding like too much anymore. The average Slurpee machine could probably dispense about 200 of the smallest size Slurpee, if we're being conservative. That means we'd need to visit 5,000 7-Elevens in order to reach the 1 million Slurpee mark. If we visit an average of 3 7-Elevens per day, buy out their entire stock of Slurpees, it would take us approximately 5 years in order to reach 1 million Slurpees. And honestly, in the grand scheme of things, that's not too bad. Realistically, a person could go and buy 1 million Slurpees if they only had the time, dedication, and a few $1 million to spare. Now, I know if I were to try to do that, I'd probably get stopped halfway through by an unmarked FBI vehicle that'll promptly take me to jail for tax evasion. But once I get out, my determination will take me to the end of this journey. It's really not unlike speedrunning, and I've been doing that shit twice as long. So it's all relative in the grand scheme of things. Money, the value of gems, the value of your time, it all changes based on your perspective and goals in this life. You can accomplish things that may seem completely impossible at a glance if you just do the math and apply some determination. My name's Dayo, and thank you for watching this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Dayo. Back to Artisans. Hard to sense how many runs I spend or waste. Salt to taste. Almost hit world record, but I lost my pace to another glitch, another bug. Can't be fucked to care, I only love to drive myself insane for the sake of entertaining a face that I will never see. I'm special, or I want to be a version of myself I am not. Just appreciate what you got.